me, Red Planet, coming to you once again with another video. Excuse me. No rights to the video or music, strictly for educational purposes only. We're going to listen to Woodward TV talk about the second sun that everybody's seeing that's in the sky. Suns, because there seem to be more than one. That's TikTok is seeing, that everybody's on TikTok is showing in the skies in the daytime, in the evening time. Let's get into it. See what Woodward TV how to say, Israel.
There is something that is coming upon the earth. Something that several of us have been discussing for quite some time. Let me just start off with this, because many of you may have not noticed, but several news sources have been covering it. Let me just give you an example here. A strong geomagnetic storm could produce northern lights farther south than usual early Monday morning. Charged particles crashing into Earth are expected to create strong solar storm conditions early Monday morning, prompting a geomagnetic storm watch as the northern lights could be visible farther south than usual. Again. The SWPC, the Space Weather Prediction Center, is predicting the northern lights to be visible after midnight through the pre-dawn hours Monday across much of the northern U.S., as far south as Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and Massachusetts. Now, how many times have you heard this, folks? How many times this year have you heard this? Northern lights were seen as far south as Las Vegas last week. Those up early on Thursday during last week's strong geomagnetic storm were likely surprised to see northern lights in parts of the Northwest and across the northern U.S. Northern lights were even seen as far south as California and southern Nevada, including on the Bureau of Land Management cameras near Angel Peak. I recently uploaded a video discussing how there are cycles that we go through, seasons. Some of these cycles are small enough for us to observe on our own. We can observe these patterns. They're not much to figure out because they are pretty consistent, just like the sun rising and setting every day. That's something that is easy to observe. And then there are massive cycles that are not so easy to observe. Cycles that exist outside of our observation in the heavens, in the stars, much larger seasons. I know that people are curious about the idea of Nibiru, Planet X, Planet 7X, Nemesis. The hypothesis
seems to have a lot of names. Planet X, Nibiru, the second sun, Planet Hell. Has a lot of names. The Destroyer. A lot of names.
That we may be living in a binary star system, that our sun has a distant companion. You know, we may have reference to this in biblical scripture. Although we can interpret biblical prophecy in several ways, we may have a reference to this star in the book of Revelation. Now, again, this is just one of several interpretations of the scriptures. That doesn't mean this is the case, but this is one interpretation that you may or may not agree with. And that is that we may already have a name for this second star. According to Revelation chapter 8, verse 11, the name of the star is called Wormwood. I've
got a problem that I'm pretty sure you can help me with. Yes, you will be paid for helping me. Actually paid really.
So I'm going to read something to you, and I want you to hold that idea of a second sun in your head for a moment while I read this. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound.
I know the second son is attracted to evil, and the more evil that's on this earth, the more that sun or planet comes upon the earth. It's already within our atmosphere to get closer to the earth, closer down upon the earth. That's what I'm trying to say. Because it's attracted to evil, and the more evil it is, the more eventually we're going to see it in its full view, and it's humongous, like I was saying, humongous. And I remember Raptor News used to talk about it all the time on how big that planet was when he used to see it. Now we're seeing other people see it, but they're not seeing it in this full form because it's so big. You can only see part of it. To be able to see that planet and seeing that how huge it is to pretty much cover the whole earth would be very scary, Israel, because it's something we ain't never seen before. But they have a lot of names for it. But I call it Planet Hell because that's what it is. Some people call it Nibiru, the Destroyer, Planet X. But it's the second sun. And it's always behind our sun. Always behind our sun. Always. You'll always see it by the sun. The sun is very, very small compared to how big that sun is, that planet is. Planet X, they call it, or Planet Nibiru. But they know it does exist, and they know what it's getting ready to do, because it's attracted to the evil that we put on the earth, that second sun.
The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels which are yet to sound. Okay, let's take a second look here. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. Mingled with blood. What's that? Does blood represent life or death in this context? Hail and fire mingled with death and destruction. Does that make sense? And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Keep in mind that when a third is mentioned in the Bible, that is the same as saying some. Some of the trees were burnt up, but all green grass was burnt up. Now, what could do that? What could burn up some of the trees, but all the green grass? The key word there is green. I'll tell you what could do that. The sun can do that. The heat or radiation from the sun. You've seen it happen yourself, haven't you? And the second angel sounded, and as it were a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. A great mountain burning with fire. It sounds like a meteor, doesn't it? It doesn't say that it is a star. It says great mountain. And it's not given a name. But when this great mountain hits the sea, what does it do? And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died. And the third part of the ships were destroyed. Some of the creatures in the sea died, and some of the ships in the sea were destroyed as a result of this great mountain impact. Does that make sense? Okay. Now this next part is tricky. Pay attention.
I'm a lawyer who can't stand the disability system. Remember in school when you needed a doctor's note to prove that you were really...
Attention, because this is important. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters. Now think about this for a moment. In what other context do we describe something falling? You guys have heard of nuclear fallout, right? Radiation fallout? Actually, you guys have heard about what happened in Chernobyl, right? The nuclear disaster in Chernobyl? Well, guess what? That word, Chernobyl, means black weed. And black weed is part of the wormwood family. And the name of the star is called wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. And the name of the star is called wormwood, black weed, radiation. And the third part of the waters became radiated. And many men died of the waters because they were contaminated. Does all that make sense? Now, why would I think that wormwood is the second star that causes radiation fallout? It's because of the next verse that comes right after that. And the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, and the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened, and the day shone not for a third part of it, and the night likewise. Now, what in the universe could cause the sun, moon, and some of the stars to lose some of their light? Think about it.
That planet could because of the massive size that it is. Can cause that, Israel. Because of the size being so big and so huge. It could actually cause that.
What happens in a binary star system when two stars get close enough to each other? One of them feeds off of the other, and those photons of light are pulled in the direction of the other star. To put it simply, right? Now, if you have a star that can temporarily strip away visible light from the sun, you still have ultraviolet, infrared, X-rays, gamma rays, and depending on the nature of the source pulling that visible light away, there may be some cooling.
See, this supposedly supposed to be our sun, but when you notice behind it, is Nibiru. Like I said, it's always going to be behind the sun. It's always behind the sun. And at night, it's always behind the moon. Because people have seen it at night as well. Now, I'm not saying that Nibiru is wormwood. He's seeing in Revelation. Because right now, none of us know. But we do know Nibiru actually exists. And we also know that it's heating this earth up. So it's getting hotter and hotter. Not just the sun that's doing it. Nibiru is doing it too. Because it has its own heat source. Remember, it's made with iron and nickel. So not only is the sun heating this earth up, Nibiru's heating it up as well. And people are seeing multiple suns in the sky in the daytime.
Effects on the surface of the earth, and some heating effects on the surface of the earth. It just depends. Do you guys really think that they do nuclear research at CERN and these other places so that they can help mankind? Do you really?
I don't put nothing past them devils on what I know they can do. Because CERN is the company that runs the Hydrogen Collider. And when they turn that Hydrogen Collider off or on to open up a different dimension or portal, they don't know what's coming through it or what they're going to go through if they're going through it. We don't know. All we know is it's evil. There's nothing about that's good. All evil.
Think that? Of course not. They know what's coming. They just want to save their own asses.
That's why they're trying to hide in their bunkers to escape what's getting ready to happen. That they're getting ready to unleash on the earth when they open up the Hydrogen Collider and let it run at its full force. They know what's coming through it. Don't know if it's going to work in their favor or not. But they definitely know what's coming through it, Israel. Just might backfire on them. We don't know. Because we don't know what type of evil's coming through it.
They keep everyone running around in circles. They lie about dates. They lie about distances. And they lie about the sizes of things out there in the heavens. And they do that so that you have no chance of figuring things out on your own as an amateur astronomer or anything. Now I have to break this discussion up into separate parts because it takes a long time to put these presentations together. But I will come back to the subject. I just want you to digest what I've talked about here for now. If you are in the vicinity to see the Aurora Borealis this morning, enjoy the light show. So until next time, that's all for now, and there is more to come. I will be returning to this topic again in the future, and we'll take a closer look. I do have a recommended video for the day. Watch that video. It will be linked on screen at the top right corner of this video.
As more people see it in its full form, the more videos people are going to do on it. The more TikTok videos that you're going to see. Because people are seeing it. Cloaked behind the sun and behind the moon. People are seeing it. It's real. But one day you're going to look up and you're going to actually see it in its full force, in its full form. And you're going to see more and more videos. If it's still up and running by then. TikTok videos, YouTube videos, Instagram, Twitter. Everybody's going to be running it. Because now you see it with the naked eye. You know, how it truly look. Like I said, it's massive.
and in the description box and pinned comment below. Please hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video. Check out my other links in the description box below. You can also find me on Instagram at jwoodward. Everyone have a great day. And as always, friends,
Much love, Israel.
stay awake, stay aware, stay safe.